I'm going to also format this as dollar. My computer, for some reason, makes this euro, but let's pick explicitly dollar. Your computer should not be doing that. I don't know what's wrong with my computer. It probably thinks it lives somewhere in Europe. Suppose I wanted to fill all of these 120 numbers with random numbers. Do I need to write all of them down? All I have to do is copy the formula, right? Copy, paste. And functions like rand or rand between are so-called volatile functions. Every time something new is entered, it's recalculated. That means it gives you a new number. Again, we're civilized people. We're not going to enter 120 numbers. Suppose I want to repeat, copy this formula and paste it all the way down to 120. Come to the southeast corner of the cell, double click. It autofills every cell until it sees a blank on the left. Okay? Yes.
If you could, where did you get
The random numbers. That function randomly generates a number in that interval. And if you want to make these numbers fixed, select all of them. There are two ways to select all of them. One is pedestrian like this, okay? Or hit Control Shift down key. When I started using Excel, PCs did not have a mouse. So you learn keyboard shortcuts that way. Okay? Once you have a selection that has formulas, but you don't want the formulas, you want the actual values, right-click, copy, right-click, pick this clipboard with numbers on it. It only pastes the values, gets rid of the either way, I have all these numbers. Let's interest rate. I'm going to make that a percentage. Let's say 5.5. Right? Basically, I have these 120 cash flows, and I would like to know the present value of all of these, right? One way to do it is calculate the present value of each. And that's easy to do. Take your cash flow, divide that by 1 plus interest rate raised to the power number of periods, right? So at 5.5% interest, that 3129 I'm going to receive 1 year from now is worth 3,029 and some change. Of course, I don't need to write all that formula 120 times. Go to the southeast corner and do autofill, which is equivalent to copying this cell and pasting it all the way down. So if I do this, copy, for some reason, created some issues, which we're gonna come to. But that's one way of doing it. Alternatively, by the way, if you want to undo any action you have done, hit Control Z. Okay? In fact, you could undo multiple actions. I think there's a limit. You can undo 30 of them or so. If you want to undo two actions, Control Z, and again Control Z. If you want to redo, Control Y. Right now, I want to double click. That's the same thing as copy, selecting the whole thing and pasting. But it looks like I made an error. So let's find out what the error could be. Would anybody tell me what the error is?
Box of the first one.
What is that pen?
The red box that's moving there. So
Okay.
it's not on.
Now, whenever you double click on a cell that has a formula, it shows all the cells to which the pens within the visible range. It looks like instead of referring to interest rate, I'm referring to this text cash flow, right? And I'm referring to the cash flow here, to the period here, so those are fine. The reason that happens in Excel, there are two and a half types of reference. One is called relative reference. This is default. Relative reference means when you copy a formula and paste it, references shift. For example, here, the C1, the interest rate, refers to the cell C1. When I paste that formula into the next row, any row references are shifted by one. So now it's going to refer to C2, but that is not what I want. I want it to still refer to C1. So we're going to do something. Alternatively, if I had pasted it here, it's referring to an interest rate of 0. Any column references are also shifted if you paste it to one column to the right or 5 columns to the right. So you don't want any of that. Let me undo all of these. The way to get out of that is to use what we call an absolute reference. If you provide an absolute reference, those references are not shifted when you copy and paste. It still refers to the same place. There are two ways you can do that. One is I want C1 because interest rate should be the same for all of these calculations, right? You could put a dollar in front of C and a dollar in front of 1. Both of those dollars have a meaning. Dollar in front of C means when you copy and paste, fix all the column references, don't shift them. When you put a dollar in front of a row number, that means fix all row references. In fact, there is a way to fix one and not the other, and vice versa. Sometimes that is very useful, and we're going to actually do an application of that. Yes.
What is
Oh, upward arrow is exponentiation. You get it by shift 6. It's called a caret sign. Sometimes I call it a hat sign. It's you use it to increase it to a power. I mean, just to remember, our formula for present value. Come on. future value in the future. Right? That's pretty much the formula I wrote over there, right? So that's one way of doing it. Now, if I double click, I don't have a problem in it. Let's kind of check. Double click on period 3 cash flow. Okay, it refers to places that it should be referring to. The interest rate, the cash flow itself, and the proper period. There is an alternative way of doing that. Let me undo it. On any reference that you want to fix or make it absolute, if you have a function key on your keyboard, hit F4. Okay.